Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckworks. I'm Chris, and welcome to another review of a LEGO Ninjago 2023 core set. This is Lloyd's Ninja Mech Battle EVO, where it showcases a $10 core mech for Lloyd facing off against basically another $10 sized villain mech for the Bone villains. Now, core mechs have been a style of mechs we've been getting for a long time, starting off with Zane's mech right here. We also got one for Kai earlier last year in that form, but we haven't gotten one for Jay yet, or Cole, and specifically not one for Lloyd, at least in this form. We got a $10 like 4+ set, but that one doesn't really count. So it's cool to finally get a full-on core mech for Lloyd with a lot of armor detail added on, some specialized printed Nexotile parts, and getting one for the villains is very cool as well. Now, in case you're curious, I have already put out a full-on mega review of every single one of the January 2023 LEGO Ninjago Core Wave sets, so I have linked that in the description below if you do want to check that out. However, if you only want to take a look at Lloyd's Mech Battle EVO, then you're in the right place. Without further ado, let's jump right in to the review. Alright, so here we have 71781. This is Lloyd's Mech Battle EVO, retailing for $20 US or 20 euros. This comes with 223 pieces at a price per piece ratio of 9 cents per piece. This features a dual set of two different mechs, again, which makes total sense because it is a $20 set, and typically each mech will go for around $10, so it's cool that they were able to package two in one like they've done with other Marvel mechs. And I also really appreciate how for the first time we are actually getting a villain-focused main build for a long time. I'd have to say, it's been a while since we've gotten a main set focused around a villain. We usually get only one or two in specific waves as compared to like the 5 to 8 sets that Ninja get, but especially for a core wave where the focus is on Ninja builds, it's really cool to see a very evenly balanced set, again, which we haven't gotten in a while. So, for the villain side of things, we have a brand new faction being represented here in the form of the Bone Warriors. Each of them has a unique name like Bone Hunter or Bone Warrior. I believe there's like a Bone General and a Bone King, but they're all basically bone villains, and they kind of are a mix between the Skulkin and the Ghosts. Lloyd here is actually featured in a brand new suit. This is the only brand new ninja outfit for the entire wave because all of the other minifigures are reusing their older suits from the January 2022 sets, but we'll talk about the minifigures a lot more later. Now, specifically just taking a look at the mechs themselves, I want to start off by taking a look at Lloyd's mech, and then we'll take a look at the villain one after that. Now, Lloyd's mech is an EVO mech, which makes it such that it has a specific play function where you can actually upgrade the set as you continue building it. Now, in case you're unaware of exactly how EVO works, essentially the gimmick behind EVO is that you can actually have an original basic form of the mech to start, and later on when you encounter unique challenges and have to face certain enemies, then you can upgrade the set as you see fit, with specific armor pieces included in the set itself to really just make it feel a little bit more built up. Specifically, for this particular set, the standard non-EVO or non-evolutionized version of it is you just remove these pieces here and remove the weapons, and you've basically got, I believe you take off like these 2 gold ingots as well, so there's a lot of like little things that you remove, and you basically just have the standard version of the mech here, which is a very basic format of the mech itself. Now, the instruction manual is actually pretty cool because it actually showcases this early form of the mech first being built, and then once you actually want it to be able to face an enemy, then you add on all of these extra pieces. It's a fun gimmick that isn't really that useful outside of the original building experience of putting the set together itself, because I don't think a lot of kids will specifically be taking these stuff off once they actually put them on, but it's cool because it feels like you are progressively upgrading the mech itself and just going one by one in terms of adding on different armor pieces and details to the mech itself to really kind of build it up to be the fully armored up version for the final set. Now, in terms of the mech itself, this is the first time Lloyd has gotten a core style mech outside of the 4+ sets, so it's cool to see a kind of fully gold and green version, which is using his traditional color scheme. Now, the choice of weapons is interesting because you've got this whole build on the back here, which is actually specifically supposed to be used as a weapon. It says to use it like this, which I guess this is kind of like a bow or some sort of a staff, so he can use it just in this particular conjunction here. I guess what you could also do is just remove the other blade and use use it here because these blades are definitely a lot more suited to this size of mech. They are just reusing the Sons of Garmadon blade elements, but I think that works totally fine here because they do have the bar element on them, so that is quite nice. But of course you can just use it as wings, or I guess details on the back itself, which just works out fine. And again, you have a larger sword here, and it even says to put one of Lloyd's smaller swords here, so you can really just get it fully weaponed up, even with the attachment on the back. There's not much else I can say about this core mech that doesn't go over what's already been said about them. It is just using these standard core limb elements for the first time molded in green, which is nice to see them being used in green here. It's cool to get another suit for Lloyd. We'll talk about the minifigures later, and this is printed, which is a very nice piece to get. But overall, this is just a standard Ninjago mech. I like some of the added detail, like the rocket boosters on the back there, that just make it stand out a little bit compared to other core sets. And you've also got these kind of lights on the end, which also act as what could be boosters or whatnot on the back there. So lots of nice details here, but overall just a pretty standard build with just some extra armor pieces like these here, or the swords in the back, that just make it a little bit more special compared to the standard $10 build. Because again, it is a $20 set, so they're adding a few more extra things like these armor pieces and the blades here to make it worth it. Moving on to the villain mech, this is definitely the more interesting of the two mechs for me personally, because we just rarely get equally sized vehicles or stuff for villains to actually use in general. So the way the weapon is supposed to work here is that he was specifically supposed to use it like this, so you have kind of this kind of dual-sided weapon on both sides. It's a little bit unwieldy to use, so what I've done is I've just taken this and put it in the other hand, which I believe is shown on the box art, so you could do that. I think the main con here for the villain mech is that unfortunately the hands themselves are not articulated on mixel joints. I don't really know why they didn't do that, because obviously, as you can see for Lloyd's mech, each individual hand is mounted on its own mixel joint, which allows you to pose the arms and hands independent of each other, which really does increase the posability factor of the mech itself. Here, though, the hands are just affixed to the arms, and combined with the fact that there are no elbows here, it really does feel very limited in terms of articulation and being able to play with the weapons themselves and get this into fun poses. Because if you want to raise the weapon up in a certain angle, you have to raise the entire arm up. And there are only so many things that you can do with the arms being fixed in a certain position, but again, it is a very easy fix. If you happen to have any just extra mixel joints lying around, you could very easily just swap those out and build the hands in exactly the same way that they've done on Lloyd's mech right here. For the rest of the mech, though, I really do appreciate the way that they've used the brand new molded bone weapon piece in conjunction with the other details in the mech to really make this feel armored up in something special. In case you aren't aware, there is a brand new Bone Villains weapon pack introduced for Ninjago for this year. It comes with a bunch of different weapons, like these sights on the back here, so you've got kind of these bone-like sights. You've also got a samurai-like helmet attachment made out of bone. You've got the sais here, swords, and you even have a couple of shurikens as well, so it kind of mimics the golden weapons that the ninja get, except in a skulkin or bone-like fashion, which I think is very, very cool. Now, the weapons themselves are used again to great effect, because you've got the shorter blades being used on the back of the weapons here, and you've got the longer one being used in the front here, so you have kind of these scythe-like weapons being fully built up. You have some of the weapons being used on the back of the mech just as extra added detail, which kind of mirror the golden spikes on Lloyd's mech, and of course the crest at the front really ties it together. And one detail I really liked was that you can actually, once you have the weapon fully combined like this, remove the hat piece here and use it as a shield. So you actually can just have the mech wielding a shield, or have the hat doubling as a shield, which is specifically stated to use in the instructions like this. And there you have it. That's another way of displaying it, which is also a really cool way of doing things, having a dual function piece. So I do like it a lot with the hat on the top here. I definitely think it looks really good with the hat being used, but I also think it's really cool that you can use it as a shield, and it definitely does feel like something unique compared to other villain-styled builds. Overall, I'm definitely a fan of how this set turned out, especially when you look at the two mechs side by side. Even though they're using the same core SCCBS system, they really do feel like they have very distinct silhouettes and belong to two clearly different factions, and I appreciate how this set is a good demonstration of how much variety variety that you can get in builds like these, where you have a villain-style build with a hat-shield combo, spikes sticking out of the back in a very spiky and menacing design, and then a hero mech where you've got swords out of the back that double as wings. You have a whole aspect being included like a jet boots feature, so you can have it flying through the sky. You've got armor pieces being used on the shoulders and whatnot, and of course printed pieces. These are printed as well on the side here, so an abundance of printed pieces, a specialized flag for the core collectability aspect of things, and overall, for a $20 mech battle pack set, this is what I've been wanting from Ninjago in a long time, and I'm glad to see it finally realized in core. The main exclusive minifigure included in the Lloyd's Mech Battle set is this new version of Golden Lloyd, and I actually really like it. First of all, we have dual molded the headband in gold and green for the first time, which is going to look really good on the Oni Lloyd figure. Very excited to put that on him. And of course, you actually have a lot more green being factored into the gold here. You've got the green hands, a dark green kind of leather-like armor piece here, green belt, and onto the back here, there's actually a pretty predominantly colored dark green section with the combination of the ninja symbols on the back. So overall, I actually really like how the figure turned out. No armor piece because unfortunately he would not fit in the mech without it, so that's not a huge deal. I can definitely just add on an armor piece if I want to. I doubt this will ever appear in any fashion in the TV show, but it's nice to get just another version of the Green Ninja or Golden Ninja Lloyd, although I do kind of feel like they're getting a little bit overdone at this point. Still, if they had the budget to make one exclusive ninja figure, making a new golden version of Lloyd makes the most sense to me, and I like how we got at least one new ninja suit this wave. The next minifigure here is the Bone Hunter, I believe is what he's called, or the Bone Guard, one of the combinations of bone villains here, and he's sporting the LEGO Movie 2 Apocalypseburg armor piece, which was also used for like the Ninjago ice villains. He's also got the new weapons pack, which has all the bone elements, which you saw was used very frequently throughout the mech itself, using the Black Panther ears / Daredevil horns for the top of the head, which is a very unique parts usage for the piece. And overall, I like the look of the figure itself, and he is very cool looking, especially when compared with the other bone villains of this wave. I think they just look really cool as a faction together. Alright, and with that, we have summed up our look at Lloyd's Mech Battle EVO. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the set? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What do you think of the core mechs so far? And how do they stack up against the other kind of smaller standard mechs that LEGO has been putting out nowadays? With that, we have summed up this review of a Ninjago 2023 set. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye for now.